One, two, three. Harold and Brad, Windy City filmmakers. Harold and Brad, Windy City filmmakers. Harold and Brad.
So, here it is. The Oscar goes to the Best Animated Short Film. If Anything Happens, I Love You.
Bow down, baby, bow down.
Pretty crazy, right?
I love it. What's going on, y'all? Brad Stevens here for another edition of the Harold and Brad Windy City Filmmakers Podcast. Hey, Steve, what's going on, brother?
What's up, B? Man, this podcast have actors, writers, directors, just industry people of all types. Who do we have tonight, Brad?
Today we have our first repeat guest, our very first Oscar-winning guest, Michael Govier is with us. What's going on?
Hey. Yeah. Thank you so much, my friends. So good to be back with you guys.
No doubt, no doubt. Hey, once again, congratulations. We're so proud of you and the team. No doubt about it.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it feels good. I'm glad, I think I did good by Chicago,
Right.
We got that golden trophy.
Absolutely.
No question. So the first question is going to be right out of People magazine. It's like what everybody wants to know. What was the experience like? Well, like the weeks leading up to it, the whole experience, being up on stage. What was the experience like for you?
It's very unique. It's very surreal. I mean, getting nominated was just an astronomical achievement, and just being part of those 5 was so wonderful. And I really got to know all those other filmmakers over the process, because a lot of times we're doing interviews together because they're interviewing all 5 nominees in your category. So I really became friends with them. And then during the process, we did about 108 interviews. So it's just like a ton of interviews, and there's a lot of press, and then there's a lot of like going to visit studios and showcasing the film to just kind of so everyone can kind of see it, just to get more people to watch the film. To the actual event, it was much different this year. Obviously, it's a COVID year, so it was very strange. And this was kind of the first big live event that they had done here in Los Angeles. So leading up to it, there was a lot of COVID tests, which created a different kind of stress. It's like this whole year, it's like, knock on wood, I have not had COVID. And then it's like, now it's going to get tested like for a whole week leading up to it. Right. And after every test, you're like, please don't have COVID. I want to go to the Academy Awards so bad. Okay. Then 2 days later, it happens again. It's like each one, it kind of, was stressful because I wanted to be able to go to this event.
So talk about the night of walking that red carpet.
That was wild because, again, this will never exist. This kind of Oscars, like they'll never have this such a small, intimate group. There's only about 300 of us people there, and everyone there is a nominee. So when you're walking around, it's just everyone's a nominee. So you're like, oh my gosh, it's that filmmaker, it's that actor, that's that actress, and it's you meet all these wonderful people, and it was just so special to be part of this. And it's just like to, all of a sudden you have these little, conversations, which I don't know if you'd have in a normal year. Right. Because I think in a normal year, you'd have like your whole crew with you. You'd have all the other people in the film. Everyone's together. You might have like 20 people with you, and they might have 20 people with them. So like everyone's kind of has their little, bubbles around them. At this, it's like they're just there, and it's like after I won, like Glenn Close walked by and she's like, hey, congratulations.
Good stuff.
And I'm like, what? Like Questlove was DJing that night in across the room. He like points out at me when I've had the trophy, and he just gives me like this big thumbs up. And I'm like, So it's like all these little special moments because everyone's there. And so it was really cool. Reese Witherspoon and Laura Dern were so kind and hung out with them backstage, and they're really cool. I forgot his name, but the little boy in Minare.
Okay, right, yeah.
He's so cute, adorable, and he's just there playing his Nintendo Switch, living his best life at the Academy Awards. So it's like, it was so cool.
Okay, now there's the moment that I recorded on the television, which I shared, where you were sitting there and they were talking about the nominees, and they came over to your table, and you had that anticipation. Can you talk about that, and then that walk up to the stage, and then being on stage, accepting that award, that experience?
That it is. I mean, you never know what's going to happen in that moment. It's just like anything. And I think, even look at this year's award. Like, everyone thought Chadwick was going to win, no doubt.
Yeah.
That was that. And then you never know. I mean, so if it shows, like, no one knows what's going to happen until they open that card.
Right.
You know? And so it's like, there is always that world. You're like, well, I don't know. And so you're there, and then they say your name, and you're like, wow, okay. And then it's just like, you kind of go into, it's like, we had prepared, we had written a speech because we wanted to be prepared and make sure we thank the people we need to thank and all the wonderful support we had. But I was right there. It's like, I right there reached over, gave my wife a little hug.
Nice.
Then kind of jumped up with Will, gave Will a hug. We walked down to the stage, and we're far away. And so it's like, we're in like the third row. So you have to like travel a little bit to get there. There's that kind of thing. And you get there and you look out. It's just all these people who are, your peers and nominees. Which is like, and all of a sudden you're making eye contact with, like, Daniel's there, Glenn's there, all these people are right there, and they're just looking at you and cheering. And like Zoe was there. And I was just like looking up at you, and you're just like, wow, this is crazy. This is such a crazy moment that, I think when I started out, you always have that dream of like, totally. This would be, of course, we all want this.
Right.
Of course. But then you're longer in the business, and now even having gone through it, it's kind of impossible. This makes no sense. Like, it makes no sense. Like, it's kind of impossible. And I now when people say it's in order to be nominated, it's like, yeah, that's impossible too.
Yeah.
You know what? It's kind of like, it's like, straight up, you're in like a rare group of like of people who have maybe like jumped out of maybe more people actually jumped out of airplanes, right? And people who are swam with sharks. Maybe more people have done that. But it's just so tripped out because it's such a select group of people who get nominated, to your point, and even win.
It's so small, and it's so exciting. Like you're saying, like all the friends and everyone, who's been supportive of you, and all the people we all come up with and we're still rising with. And it's so cool to see their reactions and like your guys' reactions and support, because it's like everyone gets so excited, and it's cool to see it through other people's eyes, because they're like, I was on stage with that guy and he has an Academy Award, and you're like, oh, that's so cool. This happened. This was a trip. This happened last week. Someone was saying, oh, an Academy Award winning filmmaker is going to be here today. And I was like, cool. And I was like looking around like, who? And they're like, it's you. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like,
what's funny? Like, I always think about like, if I ever win an Academy Award, I know it's dumb. Maybe it's like the OCD in me. But I remember, like, I think about things that when they call the nominees, and then if you don't win, you got to have that straight face, like, or if you get the award and I'm on my way up to the stage and I just trip up the stairs.
I know, right? There's so much weird pressure because that little, whatever, minute and a half, 90 seconds is kind of like stamped forever in this legacy that is the Academy Awards. So it's such a strange moment to be part of. It's just so wild, to have that. And then like after the moment I finished, I walked off stage, And in those like 2-3 minutes that I was on stage, I had 127 text messages.
Oh my goodness.
So it's just like boom. And then I had a few hundred more in the next hour or so. And then I had like 100 emails, and it's like everyone reached out, and it was super cool.
Nice.
And then there's all this other stuff like you don't know. It's like, well, then we go into press, and then we do a bunch of press rooms, and then we do like a photo shoots, and then you go to the engraving place, and they engrave it right there
in front of you. That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Like they carve, the name of the film in, your name in. Yeah.
I noticed there was 2 special moments for me watching the Academy Awards. It was when Daniel Kaluuya won. I had tears in my eyes from the exhilaration I was feeling. And the other one was when they cut back to your wife and she was sitting there crying with a smile on her face. Yeah.
It was so sweet. It was so genuine. It was so heartfelt. Yeah. When they cut to Eliza and she's just crying, and right there, it was just beautiful. And it's just like, I could kind of see her from the stage, but obviously not nearly as close as everyone got to experience on camera. Right. So when I watched it later, I was like really moved seeing how moved she was. But just so you know, Daniel is the coolest dude. Like he walked by with his trophy and I had mine, and he was just like, "Congratulations!" I'm like, "Congratulations!"
I love it.
It was so cool. He was such a cool dude. You're so kind. Yeah.
So moving forward, because I still like an amazing moment. I was looking at this documentary a couple years ago, like behind the scenes music type thing, right? And they would talk to a bunch of artists who had like a big time hit, big time album, and they would talk about the pressure they felt from the studio sometimes to reach that same success, but also the pressure they put on themselves, right? So like moving forward, do you feel that pressure, or is it like the basic idea that we want to tell great stories and whatever happens, happens?
I don't know if this is naive or if I'm like dumb, but I don't feel that. And I don't know if this is just because I'm a little bit older. Right. And so now I'm kind of like a little more mature, and I'm kind of like, no, it's cool. Let's just keep doing good work and do good work. And those stories will be there. And because I can't imagine if I was like, 22 and did this, and now I have to kind of keep chasing myself. I could see how that would be really challenging. But I mean, I obviously want to do work. There is an expectation that's 100% because, the next jobs, everyone's going to look at it, and obviously they're always going to compare it to that film. It'll always, all my work will always be compared to that film. Yeah. Now which I don't think is a bad thing. I think it's cool. It's cool. But it's like, I guess I don't really worry about that. Because it's kind of out of my control. I just want to what's in my control is getting back into the story, tell a great story. And that got me here. Yeah. I never thought I'd get here. And it was just because I dove into the story with Will, and the two of us just went, tackled these stories, and then we built a great team around us.
Let me say, remember the first interview, I started getting into how do you make your animation feel, give those feelings, and we got detailed. And so I knew right then that you obviously have a handle on it and you know what you're doing. You can obviously turn back around story well told. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, Will McCormack and I are going to start up another one. We've already got another short film we wrote, and we're kind of like getting that teed up. And then we're hoping to do, an animated feature. And so we're kind of doing both. And so now that's kind of the next path. And it was cool with this, obviously, huge success. It wasn't about if we get an opportunity. Now it's like, what opportunity, which is a very exciting place to be in, which is a crazy place to be in. So it's very exciting.
Absolutely.
The movie is about 12 minutes long, right? And I like the idea, like we were talking about last time, but that 12 minutes was actually like days and days and weeks and weeks and months and years. And like a lot of time went into that 12 minutes. What was it about the idea that you just couldn't shake? You knew you had to tell the story. Like people get 1,000,001 ideas, they just kind of blowing by. What was it about this idea that stuck with you and you knew you had to tell this story?
I really wanted to kind of show and talk about grief and physicalize what it looks like. And that was kind of the concept with those shadow souls that you see at the very beginning of the film, where people are disconnected from the pain that's inside and they can't connect themselves to it. We've all experienced this recursive gun violence in America, and then to talk about what that loss looks like and how that loss is felt through the family. And so you see it through that community rather than just becoming a statistic.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, at least for me, I feel art really affects me more than any kind of politician yelling at me about these statistics.
Right.
Like art can actually really change things, I feel, for me, and go, okay, wait, I really want to be involved, or I want to help, or how can I make things better? And so it was those places, I think, were the kind of the start of it. And the deeper we kept getting into the story and the more we kind of really started talking about what grief looks like and feels like, it just kept giving back. It just kept giving back.
I have a question outside of that. When you finally picked up that statue, was it heavy, or how did it weigh in your hands?
Harold, this is a great question. I've never held one. I've never ever, until you got to see me touch it for the first time. When I picked it up on that podium, I had never touched an Academy Award until that moment. They are crazy heavy.
Right, they are. Yeah, okay.
It's like 8.5, 9 pounds. Go pick up a 9-pound weight. Pick up a 9-pound weight. That's what this thing is. It's like a little barb, a curl. You can do little curls with it.
Right.
Can you hold it up for me and Brad right now?
Yeah.
Guys, you're missing it. You're missing it. Wow. And it's so shiny and pretty.
So shiny. Yeah, it's all gold on the outside. I mean, the thing is crazy. And it's so heavy. So when you hand it to people, people are like, people joke. It's the same weight of a newborn baby.
Right. Like if I got one Oscar in my one bedroom apartment, I'm thinking about, man, where would I put it? What, I had to move the karate guys on the I had to put it on the bookshelf. Where exactly do I put this thing, right?
I know. It's like problems you don't think of. And all of a sudden you're like, well, I guess here we are.
Ooh la la. Yes.